but we're going to jump into our next segment, the next topic on the show. And this is one, Brandon, that when I put it on the pre-show list, I gave you a choice. It was either this or it was, let's talk about Jimbo Fisher possibly leaving Florida State. And when I sent it to you, I hit that send button on the email. I was thinking, God, I hope he picks this one. I hope he does, because I feel like we talked about the Jimbo thing earlier, like last season, and that's something we can talk about whenever, because it seems like whenever there's not enough news, somebody throws out, hey, Jimbo could leave. Jimbo could leave. But we're going to look into, this is our philosophical topic of the podcast. And Brandon, I'm going to be frank and hit you with it. Should college football programs be able to offer scholarships, full ride scholarships, to 8th graders?
No.
To 14-year-olds?
No. I think absolutely not. I think that's too young. I think that is too young. I mean, they are, some people, you're in high school and it's happening, and some people would say, oh, you're still too young then, but let these kids be kids for a little bit, Let them have somewhat of a normal life for a little bit, because the moment that they are going into college in a lot of these programs, it's not a normal life. They don't really get to, have, not to say they don't have fun. Let me tell you, they have fun, but they don't have the normal life. They don't get to live a normal life like everyone else does. And I just don't think that offering a scholarship to an 8th grader makes any sense, because if you are offering it as an 8th grader, let's just kind of think he'll probably get better as he gets older.
Anything can happen.
You can still offer the scholarship. You can still offer the scholarship when he's a junior. You can still offer the scholarship when he's a senior. You can still do that. Some people would say, well, if it's offered now, then, well, what if he gets injured and, this and that and the other thing? Well, if he gets injured, I'm sure that they wouldn't want to offer the scholarship any longer. But you know what I mean? There's just like, that doesn't, it doesn't make sense to me. Why are you offering it to him as an 8th grader?
And the kid that I'm going to call him a kid because he's a kid.
Yeah.
The kid that they had offered the scholarship to, Jesus Machado, Alabama's not the only one that has offered him a verbal offer. He's gotten verbal offers from Iowa State, Michigan State, NC State, loves the state schools, and then the Mountaineers from West Virginia. The way I see this is I'm going to kind of go on a different kind of a no than you, Brandon. The reason I say no is kind of like you. Yeah, they're too young. But the way I look at it is I hate the verbal offer. I cannot stand it. I even hate when guys come out, they do the whole hat thing, and it's like, I'm going to Kansas. Because when you come out in a commitment nowadays, it doesn't mean anything. It's not binding until that ink hits the paper. How many signing day stories have we heard where the mother has kind of held the signature or the letter of intent ransom because she wants him to go to LSU and he wants to go to Florida? Or the parents want him to go here, he wants to go here, but no, you're going to go here, and they make that decision. The only reason this is even relevant and why teams would offer, I would say, at 8th graders is because of the parents. It's the prestige. You just got an offer from Alabama. He's going out playing with his friends, and you know what he's saying? Hey, man, guess what? I just got offered by Alabama. Dude, this is why I'm better than you. Notice how I phrased that. I didn't phrase it as a, hey, be happy for me, kind of a humble way. This giving 8th graders scholarship offers is only going to build their egos, and as they get older, the ego is going to be bigger and bigger to where, if, God forbid, if something happens and the career of football gets vanishes, they're not going to have the ego to be able to, and this is only one scenario of it, they're not going to have the ego to manage it. Or their ego is going to be so big, they're going to get to a college team eventually and then have to be knocked down a few pegs by the upperclassmen.
Yeah, that makes sense. That point definitely makes sense.
It's building their egos. There's no question about it.
I just think that at the end of the day, it's an 8th grader. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it is an 8th grade kid. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. I don't think that it should be allowed to be. I don't think they should be allowed to be offered a scholarship until they're into high school. Once they're in high school, then you know what?
I'd say juniors.
It's almost like they're fair game. Junior for sure. You can start looking at them at a sophomore.
Well, you can start scouting them in freshman, sophomore, but don't offer at them until junior year.
No, I mean it doesn't.
He could go into high school and get injured. I mean, God forbid you don't want that to happen, but that could happen, and then it's like, oh, well, I know we offered you, but we're going to pull the offer. And at the end of this ESPN article, it even says verbal offers are non-binding, and prospects are not allowed to receive written offers until their senior season. So you're not even allowed to get a written offer until your senior season of high school. Yet we're going to just throw a verbal offer, which, because it's non-binding, it doesn't mean shit in my book. Like, that's like saying, I don't know, hey, Ricky, I'm going to be over at 8. That doesn't mean anything to me. You could show up, you could not show up.
If I said, Ricky, I'm going to be over at 8, we know I'm coming at 8:20.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. You got to show up fashionably late to the party. But, yeah, the non-binding, there is no commitment either way in the verbal offer category or when a guy says, yeah, I'm going to commit. Because until they sign that piece of paper, they're not a member of your football team. And another thing I'm going to throw out there, kind of from my personal life in this, is recently I've just gotten a new job where now I'm dealing with the admissions part at a college. And the one thing I always hear from my supervisor is, oh, you know what? You got to, like, I would call them because, oh, you know how high school students are. They kind of change their minds every 2 seconds. Well, if I'm talking about that with a sophomore and a junior in high school, how many times in a millisecond does an 8th grader change his mind about things? Or you get the parents that say, I don't care what you do, you're going to Alabama now because it's Alabama. And there's a kind of prestige with it. Like, oh, my son got an offer from Alabama.
Well, but see, that's another thing, too, is because once you're in high school, a lot of the decision is up to you. Mm-hmm. It's your decision. You're being offered you brought up a really good point.
Like I said, depends on the situation. There have been family members that keep the LOI ransom, per se.
No, I understand that, but at the same time, you're an 8th grader. Are you making almost any decisions for yourself?
No.
Pretty much no.
You don't even get to decide when you get to take a shit. I think that's the only thing you can decide.
Well, yeah, you gotta raise your hand and go get the bathroom stick.
Teacher can still say no.
But how horrible is that? And I have had teachers say no. What do you want me to do? Shit in my seat?
Or,
I don't think so.
Trust me, because I've been there. Is it an emergency? How the fuck are you going to know if it's an emergency if I say yes?
And then they get mad.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, you gotta leave my class. I was just teaching the cure to cancer. I don't think so, bitch. So,
Hey, man. Some of those topics are important.
I'll tell you what, though, is that at the end of the day, in no way should an 8th grader be offered a scholarship by any team because it's just not time yet. High school, absolutely. Absolutely. That's when it should be.
I would like
8th grade, but at the same time, it goes back to the comment I made at the beginning. Let the kids be kids, Let them have a little bit of a normal life. Because the minute that they get offered this scholarship, they, especially Alabama, it's Alabama or Michigan State or any of these big schools, it's no longer a normal life when you're playing on their team. It's no longer a normal life. You are in the limelight. You are, and some people handle it well. Some people don't handle it well. Yeah, exactly. It's let them be kids for a little bit longer.
Well,
Johnny Manziel is going to be a kid until he dies in a few years.
Well, I was saying the part where he was the BMOC in the limelight in college, but yeah, what I was gonna say is, if you are a person that is saying yes to this, please comment down below.
No, yeah,
Please
absolutely. Because I
want to hear that side of it. That's what I want. I want to hear the side that is saying yes, you should be able to offer. And I'm not saying don't be a little dick in the comment section and say yes just to fuck with us. I want the actual people that really believe yes, because I want to have an intelligent sports conversation with you about this, because this is something that, like I said, Brandon, when I threw it out there, I was like, I hope Brandon picks this, but I kind of wanted to give you a choice, because I was like, I don't know what he's feeling, if this is like a topic that he would want to talk about. But I really, like, I saw that and I was just like, who would think yes to this? And I know that it's kind of like who would vote for Hillary Clinton. I just can't see those people, but politics, that's a different story. I just can't see the yes argument here, and that's why I want to see it down below if you believe that.
Yeah, I agree with that, because there may be people who, and there probably are people. There's always someone on the opposite side of you that thinks the opposite of what you think. And yeah, I think that it would be really interesting to see, why people. But a lot of times that's nice though, is because that's why being able to have intelligent conversations about things in general, about whatever it is, sports, politics, whatever, and people are so afraid to have conversations about politics, but all you have to do is have an open mind about things. And I think we both do have an open mind about, pretty much any subject that's going to be thrown at us, because guess what? The way that we think is not always the right way. And the way that we're thinking, we may be thinking on one path, you open up our mind to another one. So absolutely, if you are thinking, yes, absolutely, offer that scholarship to 8th graders, please comment down below, and we will be able to have a nice conversation with you, because I think this is an interesting topic, because if more and more situations or cases like this come up, because let's remember, Alabama is not the only, this isn't the only one, and he was
LSU did it last year.
And he was offered by other schools as well.
LSU was the big one last year.
But it does happen. Why is it happening? Why are they trying to go after him right now in 8th grade? And why, if you were an 8th grader, would you take it? Why would you do that? So if you're on that line of thinking, please let us know.